Well, some of the other new content we're currently getting includes challenge mode in the raid.
There's been 2 now.
Yeah, This is the second one. We now have Golgoroth this week. If you're listening on Friday, it is Golgoroth right now, and then it'll change again during the reset. So this week, the challenge is everybody has to hold the gaze during each damage cycle, basically. I did this one yesterday. It wasn't that difficult. What do you guys think? Are these too easy?
That was what I was going to say. Is so far, we haven't seen Crota. Oryx yet. Yeah, we haven't seen Oryx yet. And maybe that one will be difficult because that encounter is just a lot more difficult than the rest of the raid. But so far, they've been pretty easy. Yeah. Like, the very first time...
I still don't mind that.
It's called challenge mode, though. It should be a challenge, right?
It's just a little challenge that they add to the game to like kind of give you a reason to come back and check it out, and you get really great rewards for doing it.
I'm not complaining about the rewards.
Yeah.
The rewards are great. Like that's kind of the best part about it is now we're finally getting 320 gear, and you can get up to 320 light, which is awesome because. I think
rewards are awesome.
Yeah, before they integrated the challenge mode, I think my team was telling me that only 4 people in like the whole world had light level 320, and it's like. That's an incredibly low number for how many people. Yeah. Well, it's possible. Yeah. I mean, there are 320 drops.
You got to run 3 of one character and hope for 320s every week. You know?
And then just
there was no 320 artifact.
Lucky.
So you could hit 320 without the 320 artifact? Was that the
I don't know.
bug if you didn't pick up
Iron
the
Banner?
artifact?
Iron Banner had a chance to drop 320s.
That's right. That game. That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't know where the rewards came from,
That's
but
the
it
only
was
place you get it from.
possible.
Yeah.
But very few people had done it. So if the rewards are great.
Oh, no. I might be incorrect on that Iron Banner statement, actually.
Yeah,
I don't know where they would have gotten
shells at up to 320, not artifacts.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
There was that bug, that if you guys didn't hear about that, if you started your character, I believe, but never got the artifact, then it only calculated based on what's in your character set. Yeah. So if you never picked up the artifact, you could get the 320. That's what I heard. So maybe it had to do with that. Whatever the case, we're literally talking nobody had it.
Yeah, very few people out there had it. I heard like you could count them on one hand. So the rewards are great.
Yeah, and I was immediately, just to stress this, I always complain about time invested versus the reward, right? That's where you really start to feel the grind and feel like, I like this game, but you're starting to really stretch me thin.
Yeah.
This was it was awesome. It was a much needed kick in the pants. Like I went from, 312 to like 317 or something really fast, and it felt good. The rewards were good because I have heavy weaponry I want to use, and I can't. We've talked about that before. So anyway, drops are good.
The drops are great. I wish the challenges were a little bit harder. If it switches week to week, like instead of the same War Priest challenge next week
will be Sisters.
Right, no, but I mean like the next time we cycle around to get the War Priest, if it's not the same challenge, if it's a totally different challenge that changes it again, that would be cool. And maybe I could deal with that. But like
I doubt it.
The War Priest challenge was like when we jumped into that, I asked my team, I was like, all right, so what's the deal with this? And they were like, literally nothing changes. Now you can't have like the aura twice in a row. And I was like, okay, well, we kill him in 2 cycles anyway, so it doesn't matter. And they're like, that's exactly it. Same with the Golgoroth challenges. Initially, my crew did the 2 gaze or 2 people passing the gaze back and forth strat anyway. Yeah. So now we were all very
with 3 sets of people.
Yeah, now we were already accustomed to timing it so that we didn't let the gaze drop off and have to deal with ads again, and now we're just doing that with not the same 2 people, but 6 people per phase. And it only takes like 4 orbs anyway, so...
The strategy that my team used was we label people players 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the odd numbers are on one side, all the evens are on a number, or on the other side, on left and right. And then you do your DPS like normal. Somebody pulls gaze, he shoots the orbs, and everybody jumps in and DPSs. Of course, if you get the tainted light or whatever, you jump out and explode and then do more DPS. And then when he starts counting down 10, 9, 8, player number 2 grabs the gaze, then player number 3, then player number 4, then player number 5,
and you just alternate while doing DPS.
And then you set up again for the next round.
Yeah.
You don't do DPS for players 2 through 6. Just that player 1, you get the first 30 seconds. I suppose you could if you really wanted to, but we just found it super relaxing and easy to do it where you just do 1 round of DPS, make sure everybody gets it.
At the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that strategy makes a ton of sense. It seems like the obvious design was that they wanted you to just cycle through each of the orbs and do it that way or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But okay, so the real conversation, though, that I've been hearing out there, which you started to get into, and I do want to talk about it, is the whole, this isn't challenging enough. I really think that is a jaded viewpoint.
Who's saying that? Like the 0.25% of players that play too many raids?
I'm saying that.
Yeah, we're the crazy hardcore players.
You're saying it, and that's exactly my point. And Datto has, been obviously, the biggest sort of streamer player out there, very well known, very strong voice in the community, and he's been very disappointed. I understand the expectation for when you can play at that level and you have that group of elite friends, but that is exactly the perspective. So to say it was literally negative feedback of this really is kind of a bummer, and I don't think that at all. Drops are good, and this is where you have to look at there are millions of people out there playing. It is hard enough just to get a raid team together for some people. They're going to LFG. They don't have friends, teams of 6. Most people don't. We know that was one of the main facts in year 1, actually. Almost nobody was raiding. Well, it was
comparative to the rest
20%.
Of the,
and now that's always
base,
active players versus what, the people who bought it. But you get the point. It is hard enough just to get a hard raid team together.
Yeah.
And if you're elite, I get it. You want more, and I think they deserve more, and that's why things like Trials offer things like that, Iron Banner, depending. But I'm happy with the challenges, and also, it's progressing. It's going to get harder, but I also don't want to point because then I'm going to be that it's so hard. I'm just going to be sitting here at the table God, I can't get the helmet because the Oryx challenge is so hard. I don't want that. I want it to be within reason, and the drops are good. And I do think having to exchange that gaze, if that something in your timepiece goes wrong, which can happen, right?
Totally. You reset.
You reset, but meaning that's how the whole raid is designed. It's a timepiece. If somebody screws up, you have to start over. But my point is, it's always about syncing everyone up, and it's asking a lot, to get a team that can really communicate and do all that. So I haven't played the Golgoroth challenge yet, but knowing what it is, I actually think that's a nice step up over War Priest. And now we know more is coming, probably with Sisters, that it's harder, and Oryx will be very hard, I'm sure, who's already hard on hard mode, depending on if you have the right team. That's what thing. We've all experienced this. You go into the raid, you have an awesome team, you're like, holy cow, what? It was an instant, we just crushed it. And then you go and you play the next day with someone else, and you're there for 90 minutes, and you're pulling your hair out because it is about getting the right group together. So anyway, my point is, not everybody has an elite team of 6 people who crush it, 7 times a week or whatever it is. So I think I'm pretty happy with the challenge modes. I think maybe the discussion is, do you think the design is clever enough? Would you have done something differently?
I mean, that was kind of my problem with the War Priest and the Golgoroth challenge. Well, the Golgoroth challenge is different. The War Priest one definitely was nothing changed. We just did the same strategy we'd always done, and it worked because we do so much damage on hard mode to War Priest that it didn't require more than one person to hold the aura anyway. Yeah. So that
I
didn't
think
change
War
anything.
Priest didn't seem all that clever.
Well, it didn't actually change anything.
With War Priest, I mean, if somebody got the same plate last 2 times in a row, then it would screw stuff up.
Yeah, but there's 2 people on each plate anyway. So if that's the case,
if it was right,
have the other person grab it.
But this is it's the same as Atheon, right? That's just go back and think about it. They wanted to make sure people had to experience holding the relic or whatever it is.
But they don't on the War Priest challenge.
If
that's
you're
the problem.
good.
They don't as long as you can get through it in 2 rounds.
Well, yeah, you're right. If you're good, we can get him on the first aura. We can get him to 35%, maybe 40.
Yeah. With weapons of light.
Yeah, well, we stack it. We tether, we weapons of light, and we just
nuke him.
and we all have 3 18, 19 black spindles, and it's just we blow him up. And then right after that, it just takes a little bit more damage and he's done. So it's you don't even have to pass that aura. Right. It's not even a concern. With Golgoroth, though, the challenge is there. You now actually, if you were totally used to doing the one orb strat where one person grabs the gaze and then everyone DPSs, and then once the timer runs out, everyone jumps out and you just clear ads again. This actually adds a little, a level of complexity. Now you can't let it run out. You have to pass it between people, and that's kind of cool. It still doesn't change much for people who are already doing that strat, though. My group, now we do one orb.
To doing it.
Yeah, well, now we do one orb because it's just so easy.
You still only used 2 people before. Now you have to use all 6. To get
but
it.
I mean, the mechanic of passing the gaze back and forth—that's the difficult part. I don't actually think the whole making everyone do it is the hard part.
But maybe your team did that. But
I want to make sure we have time for the final segment.
Right.
So if you guys have any final thoughts,
is the podcast going to self-destruct?
No, I really want to talk about this.
It
stuff.
is true.
Yeah.
We're 20 days into it.
I think the challenge modes could be harder, but I'm reserving that statement because we haven't seen Daughters or Oryx yet, and I expect those to be a lot more difficult.
And that was the point of the whole this is too easy too. It's scaling up. We'll see where it goes. Mostly I'm happy. I would like to see some pretty clever stuff, but I think again they only have so many variables in these raids.
Last thought: I would love it if every time we get a new challenge, it's a totally different challenge.
Oh yeah,
that would be super.
That'd be cool.
Don't hold your breath. Is what I would say about
like next time on War Priest, you have to one shot.
Oh yeah,
you can only get one aura to do it.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be crazy. Like I really like the new modes. I don't think Bungie should listen to the 1% that's saying it's too easy because like it's a really, really loud voice, but it's such a minor portion of the community. And personally, having not done the hard raid at the time when this started, it gave me a reason to go. I'm like, okay, now I have a reason to go do hard raid and not just bang my head against the wall hoping for those 320 drops. There's like a guaranteed reason for me to go in there, and I love hopping in and playing.
Yep.
Yeah.